the Epic Games Store has quietly and suddenly opened up to Chinese users. According to a tech story, spotted and translated by Pokemon, the platform started allowing players in China to purchase and play games this week. The move marks a significant expansion for Epic's PC game store, even if it was a step not heavily publicized by the company. China saw $15.21 billion in revenue for just domestic online PC games in 2018, making it a massive market for those that can get approved to launch games in the country. Even Steam, a platform that has yet to see an official government-sanctioned release in China, currently has nearly a quarter of its users using simplified Chinese as their language. As it is now, the Chinese version of the Epic Games Store bars users from using Chinese credit cards, but does accept WeChat and daily pay as payment methods for most games. When reached for comment by Pokemon, Epic did not elaborate on the decision to quietly bring its platform to China, saying simply that, "We look at Epic Games Store as a global service, and want to make it available to players in every region we can." China is notably strict about the games and platforms it allows to launch in the country, and the rules dictating what content games cannot include have only gotten stricter since approvals reopened this year. Even Tencent has had issues with the process. The company shut down its game Pro Mobile in China this month, and instead opted to launch a similar title, called Game for Peace, that removes some of the violent themes found in Pro Mobile. Chief Creative Officer of Improbable Bill Opa announced that has leaving the company to start a new position at the Seattle-based indie game studio of 30 Little. Roper previously held positions at companies like Blizzard, Cryptic Studios, and the Walt Disney Company before joining Improbable as CEO back in 2017. Speaking to VentureBeat, Roper explained how his decision stemmed from the desire to return to game development. "I have been working from more of a very hands-off perspective, playing a guiding role helping studios design technology," he said. "I am always happiest when I am actually designing. The moments of greatest joy recently are when I am actively advising studios. The opportunity to actually make a great game is something I have been missing and craving." With nearly 25 years of experience under his belt, Roper will join author Digital co-founders Jason and Serena Boy in their goal of developing story-based and narrative titles, specifically role-playing games. Facebook is under fire for allegedly facilitating overspending by minors in free-to-play games on Facebook, and internal documents now show that the company chose not to implement security measures that would have prevented kids from unknowingly pouring their parents' money into games, according to a review from the Center for Investigative Reporting. Court documents containing internal Facebook memos, strategies, and employee emails show that Facebook employees knowingly exploited the spending habits of children playing free-to-play games and, in some cases, refused to refund parents who became aware of their children's spending. It's a troubling affair, but one that game developers should pay close attention to, as the conversation about ethical monetization, especially when children are involved, is not likely to wind down at any point in the future. A full overview of the particularly troubling bits of what was released can be found over on Review's website, including links to the released documents and snippets of conversations between Facebook and the developers of the games in question. Some of those documents label children as whales, the term typically used to describe the biggest spenders in a free-to-play game's PLAYERBASE. In many cases, overspending by minors was the result of either children not realizing they were spending real money by purchasing in-game goodies and currency. Parents not knowing that their credit card information had been stored in the games that their kids are playing. According to internal documents, a team of Facebook employees set out to solve the issue and eventually devised a system that would require players to re-enter some credit card information to verify that the spending was intentional and permitted by the credit card owner. The change had the intended effect of lowering refund and credit card chargeback requests from disgruntled parents, but it ultimately was not implemented for fear it would impact revenue. If we were to build risk models to reduce it, we would most likely block good total purchase value, said one Facebook employee in the unsealed documents. Another unsealed doc shared by the Review News Roundup captures a conversation between Angry Birds developer Rovio and Facebook, in which the developer noticed that 5 to 10% of in-game transactions were being refunded. This seems quite high to me, but it might just be normal for games on Facebook, wrote the Rovio employee. In a resulting study, looking to explain the high refund rate, Facebook found that 93% of those refunds were due to parents not knowing the game was charging their credit card, largely because parents did not think the child would be allowed to buy anything without their password or authorization first. Newsbrief. From Software's latest release, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice has already surpassed 2 million sold worldwide. A milestone. Publisher Activision says the game hit less than 10 days after its March 22nd launch. That figure comes from Activision and From Software's own internal sales estimates, and includes copies sold worldwide across PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC. In a press release, the publisher notes that Sekiro has performed well on all platforms, and managed a sizable following on the streaming platform Twitch. In the process, the game amassed 631 million minutes of cumulative viewership on Twitch during its launch weekend alone. By the end of the game's first week, that number had increased to 1 billion minutes watched. How do you build a mobile game about love? That was one of the questions Australian indie Dev Mountains wanted to answer with its debut game Florence. And at THEGAME Developers Conference in March, you will get a first-hand look at how they pulled it off. Mountain's creative director Ken Wong returns to debut this year to deliver Letting Go, a Florence post-mortem, a design track talk that will show you how this critically acclaimed mobile game was made. Notably, Wong will discuss the project's inception and turbulent design evolution, and how the game achieved its emotional resonance. He will also talk about the pressures of building a team from scratch, working with the NAPU Arena Interactive, and striking out on a new path after working on Monument Valley. While this talk is aimed at everyone, narrative designers should especially enjoy the breakdown of Florence's narrative techniques and how to use them in their own games, while attendees starting the studios can learn from Mountain's mistakes and successes. Further details on this talk and many more are available now on THEGDC 2019 session scheduler. There you can begin to lay out your GD 2019, which takes place March 18th through the 22nd at the newly renovated Moscone Center in San Francisco. Bring your team to GD, register a group of 10 or more and save 10% on conference passes. Learn more. For more details on GDC 2019, visit the show's official website. Subscribe to regular updates via Facebook, Twitter, OS, Gamasutra and GD are sibling organizations under parent company Informa. Valve has used its new off-topic review bombing countermeasure for the first time, to disregard the swath of negative Borderlands users' reviews left on Steam. Last week, those dismayed by 2K's decision to make Borderlands 3 a 6-month Epic Games Store exclusive began posting negative user reviews of past Borderlands games on Steam, leaving Borderlands 2, and the pre-sequel with recent ratings of mixed, or mostly negative. It was the first real test for Valve since it pledged to curb Steam review bombing by implementing a new, off-topic review system that would identify and disregard disingenuous feedback, helping preserve the original scores of affected games. Although it took a while for the company to act, Valve has now marked user reviews for all 3 games posted between April 3 and April 8 as off-topic for being largely unrelated to the likelihood that you would enjoy the product.